All right, first of all, welcome to the spring enrollment. The next 4 months are very exciting, I believe. But to make the most out of those 4 months, to make the most out of the spring enrollment, we need to have our mindset right. Where a lot of people, they can understand the trading technicals. Technicals, okay, great information, but that's not going to be the differentiator if someone is profitable or not. It's all about mindset and always comes back to mindset as well. Of course, the information I'm going to give you on the trading technicals is going to help a lot, but it's not going to help and it's not going to make you profitable. It's not going to help you succeed if you do not have the right mindset. So that is very important to understand. That is why ahead of every enrollment, I create an SFS. You may know it if you have watched previous enrollments as the house rules. The SFS stands for the setup for success. So things you need to know before you actually dive into the trading technicals. Now, right here, if we go on to the next page, then we see how do I achieve success? So how do you achieve success? The first thing I want to ask from you is write down what success means for you. Because of course, someone might say success for me is achieving a 10K funded account. Someone might say, well, I want to be a full-time trader. For someone else, that might not be success. So success is subjective, right? Write down what success means to you and we can work towards that success. Then, how do we actually achieve that? This is where step one now comes in. Everything here is to help. So I don't want you to feel forced to do anything. That's never my intention. But I do want to mention that everything I do and everything that I say right here is to help you. So I don't want to come across as the know-it-all and the annoying guy that just tells me what to do, etc. No, I'm just here to help you, right? So let's get that out of the way as well, that I don't want you to feel forced to do anything, but I am here to help you ultimately. Then step two, that's also where trust comes in. So trust between each other, where we can trust each other and you trust the things that I say that they actually work as well. That of course can be built over time. I do understand that. Can we trust each other 100% out of the get-go? No, but trust is being built from me telling you, hey, this works really well from my experience and in other students, this works the best. So if you apply this to the chart and you see it work, then slowly we are building trust as well. But in order to build trust, I also need you in that sense. Now, step number 3 is ignore. And ignore is a very important step. Every step here is important, but ignore, I would argue, is probably one of the most important steps that we are going to walk through. Because ignore, meaning that you ignore other concepts that are not inside the mentorship. And what I mean by that is even my YouTube has concepts that we are not going to touch on in the mentorship. And that is for a reason. That is, again, everything here is to help you. So I am not mentioning those concepts because I want to sell you something later on and I can get more of your money. No. I am not mentioning that concept because it's not relevant. It is not relevant for you to succeed in trading. So it's very important to ignore those concepts, I would argue. And the reason for that, again, is because very plainly said, you paid for a shortcut. So let's not waste that shortcut and let's not waste your time, because ultimately you will likely come to the same conclusions that I came to in the mentorship. So I would advise, listen to that advice, ignore other concepts and do not waste the shortcut, because there are a lot of people that have also been in a mentorship before and that eventually come to me, hey, but what about this concept? What about that concept? And then they incorporate it anyway, and they do not ignore other concepts. They incorporate it anyway. And then eventually they come to the same conclusion that, it was already in the mentorship. There's a reason why Arjoio did not mention it in the mentorship. So that's very important because, again, this is a shortcut. So let's make it a shortcut, right? Let's not make it a waste of time. That's very important. Now, step number 4 is patience. And patience is, again, as well, like every other step, very important. And the reason for that is because after these 4 months, I want to get your mindset right. As in, after these 4 months, you might not be profitable. I do not want you to think after these 4 months, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to sit on the beach in Miami or wherever you want to be. that's likely not going to happen, right? In rare occasions, yes, that could definitely happen. But I want to get your mindset right that we should be patient, as in, no matter how long it will take, of course, that's an exaggeration. As in, this is not going to take 10 years. But it's better to think that this might take 10 years than only 4 months. And the reason for that is, again, because that gives you the stress-free feeling that you can do whatever you want right there and you can succeed over time. You do not need to succeed tomorrow, and that is very important. So give it time as well. Where a concept might not make sense the first time we go over it, but if you give it time and you are patient enough, then it will make a lot more sense. So please give it time as well. Again, not being profitable after those 4 months, that's not a shame. It's absolutely not a shame. And I can guarantee you that you will make a huge step after these 4 months. Some will be funded, others will already have received payouts, others might have investors lining up for them. Who knows, right? But others might not be profitable yet. Others might still be struggling. And that's completely normal. That's your own journey, right? Everyone learns at their own pace. So do not compare yourself with other people as well. Very important. Now, step number 5, don't get ahead just yet. And what I mean by that is, of course, we're looking to get ahead of the competition, right? That's always what we're trying to look into. But don't get ahead, as in, if we are talking about the first month, we are going to go over the analyst phase. And you might already ask me questions about execution and how can I actually execute on that setup. That is where I would argue, all right, let's take it a step back because you are going too fast. There's a reason why we go over every phase, the analyst, execution, psychology, MMP, and the finishing touch, in total 4 months. Why we go over those topics in a combined 4 months. So every topic, almost every topic is 1 month long, definitely analyst and execution. And the reason for that is, again, because we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So after the first week, if we are still in the analyst phase, if I get questions about the execution phase, then that always is a little bit, I'm not really going to dive too deep into that because you're not ready for that just yet. And even if you are ready for that, I would still advise to wait. If you learn very fast, and still, I would advise to wait. So don't get ahead yet. Just follow along with the overall process. And if you think you already understand it, then do more. Learn and study more about that video. So maybe watch the videos 10 times instead of 2 times. That is also very important to understand. Then step number 6 is social media. And social media is a dangerous part in any process, in any endeavor in life, because even if you're an athlete, I would argue that social media is very dangerous because you're going to start comparing yourself with other people. And especially in trading, when you go onto Twitter, it's extremely dangerous because other people might already be winning. There might be another concept, a new shiny object syndrome coming up in the Twitter space, the community, and that will distract you ultimately from our goal of being profitable. So social media does not help you if you are a consumer. Now, the reason why I'm on social media is, of course, I'm usually creating. I am also consuming on social media, so don't get me wrong. But I have personal accounts and I have trading accounts. And the way I set it up is I don't follow any trading related account on my personal accounts. Meaning, if I'm sitting on the couch and I want to open Instagram for a little bit, I don't see anything related that is anything trading related. So the only way I can see trading related things is on Twitter. And on Twitter, I basically don't really look at Twitter. I post my thing, I get off of it. And the first tweet, I may see that. But other than that, I don't scroll actively on Twitter, and I also don't want to. That's the same for YouTube. On my personal accounts on YouTube, I don't watch any trading related content anymore because I am my own mentor currently, which is all steps we're going to go over, which eventually we will get to the same stage for you as well. But this is extremely important to understand, again, to not get distracted by social media. So even my own YouTube and even my own Instagram and my Twitter, that might be very good content for you. I would advise you don't need my YouTube. you don't need my Twitter or my Instagram currently. So if you're looking to take this extremely serious, then I would advise either delete all trading related content from your personal accounts that you follow, or delete your social media entirely. So that is what I would advise, because that helped me a lot in my overall journey. Now, step number 7 is no entertainment. And what I mean by that is everything we go over, every video that we go over right here is not for entertainment purposes. And I don't mean that in a sense it's financial advice and you need to follow it. No, it's not financial advice. In that sense, it's entertainment purposes, yes. But the thing is that I am not trying to entertain you here. I am trying to be very serious, very professional about everything we do right here to get you to an extremely serious job, which is just trading, right? Or an extremely serious skill that we are about to learn. So I don't want to mess around with fancy edits right here in the mentorship. No. This is about being extremely serious, about keeping focus on a video. Of course, will I rant about irrelevant stuff? Well, no, that's a huge thing for myself. I do not want to rant about irrelevant stuff. So I will also not be editing out a lot of stuff. And the reason for that is because I speak my mind in these videos, and you see the full thought process actually, where YouTube, you might only see half because you have no idea how much gets edited out actually in a video. So that is very important, that these are not for entertainment purposes, as in these are not to watch as Netflix and just lay back and just watch them as you go. No, these are actually for very serious purposes. It's very important. And step number 8, and that's the last step that brings everything together, is effort. Effort makes everything work. As in, I can put a lot of effort into these videos. I can prepare them very well and explain it to my best. But if there's no effort from your side, then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually succeed. Where I can tell you something, but if you do not apply that to a chart, if you do not do case studies, for example, all things we're going to go over, by the way, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to understand that. So it's always a team, right? It's 50-50, where I provide the information, but you need to do something with that information. If you do not apply information, then it is simply entertainment. And again, it's not entertainment because it's information that we need to apply in order for us to become profitable. So we need to take this serious, in my opinion. And that is how we can then achieve success. So again, I want to welcome you. I want to thank you. We have great 4 months ahead. And these things, these steps are just very important to get your mindset right as well, to get the expectations right. All right, perfect. Thank you.